What do I think of when I hear the word leadership? I don't believe that there is one true definition of leadership, and that the concept of leadership can be exercised and expressed in various different ways. For example, when I think about leadership in the context of this picture, I identify the man standing above everyone as the leader in the room because of the individual power he seems to hold over the group.
This is your time. Seize the day. Never surrender.
Victory or death.
However, when I think of the meaning of leadership in the context of this image, I define it more along the lines of collaboration or teamwork. I think that these two constituents, that is, power and collaboration, are two of the most prominent factors that drive our leadership development, and that the Leadership Identity Development Model, or the LID model, does a great job of when it comes to analyzing our journey as leaders. When we refer to power in the first stage of the LID model, we explain it as becoming aware that leadership and power exist. This stage can be displayed at a young age when we notice a quarterback calling a play, or the president making a big speech, or even something as simple as understanding that, unfortunately, mom and dad always have the final say. Next, we come to the stage of exploration and engagement in which we as individuals begin interacting with others. This is experienced in the classroom when we begin to develop relationships and take on roles within a group. Which brings us to the third stage of the model, leader identified. This stage is when we decide that leadership is positional and accept that people in positions of power are leaders. This stage resonates with me because I have always looked up to my dad as a leader. My sisters and I have always viewed my father in this light because of his occupation as a lieutenant on the fire department and his position as head coach of our CYO basketball teams. Because of this vision, he has stood as a powerful figure throughout the entirety of our lives. It wasn't until many years into school that I understood how power could be executed by multiple people in a group. This reflects the fourth stage of the LID model, leadership differentiated. As vice president of my class, I served on the senior board and contributed to an abundance of both school and town events and activities. And while there were very separate positions of the board, each of us contributed as leaders and demonstrated our power. However, at the time that I joined Sigma Chi here at the University of Maryland, my definition of power when it came to leadership transformed. Of course, I still viewed the brothers who held executive positions as powerful, but I also understood that I, as a member, could be powerful as well. By going to chapter meetings, having opinions on issues facing our organization, and simply just being involved. This concept of behavioral leadership is something that I find to be extremely effective, especially because it exhibits leadership qualities without necessarily providing the glorification of holding a leadership position. It also brings me to the theory of collaborative leadership. The idea of collectively working together for the greater good relates back to stage 4 of the LID model, as well as the fifth stage of generativity. While collaboration explicitly describes the act of working together with contributions from everyone, it also consists of the idea of working for one another and for the greater good. I relate this back to my junior year of high school when I wasn't selected as a starting player on the varsity basketball team. I had been a contributing player on the junior varsity team and worked relentlessly throughout the preseason, but would not receive the court time that I felt I deserved. However, rather than use short playing time as an excuse to give up, I found other ways to continue to try to add value to my team and my teammates, through a positive attitude, encouragement, and consistently working hard. I think this style of leadership reflects Stephen Covey's The Eighth Habit, in which he expresses the importance of being able to find your voice and inspire others to find theirs. And while I may not have realized it at the time, I believe I was acting as a generative and collaborative leader through my ability to impact people around me without necessarily holding a defined position of power. The final stage of the LID model is integration and synthesis, and refers to a leader's ability to apply all of his or her leadership intelligence, and is very difficult to actually reach. While I can't decide which stage I fall into after experiencing what I have been through and studying as a leadership minor, I do know that in the future there will always be opportunities to grow and develop as a leader and as a person. A final takeaway for my definition of leadership is that it is a process. Leadership is a process for groups trying to make an impact. It is a process between people who are working together to help one another. And most importantly, it is an individual process in which one becomes a product of his or her experiences and environment and uses such things to influence his or her surroundings as positively as possible.